What is popping? What is popping? Welcome back, Team DWC. It's your boy TWP Popcorn. Y'all already know what time it is. 10 a.m. every Saturday and Sunday. 6 p.m. on Wednesdays. AKA another day in paradise. You know, when you come look for your boy, because that's when I'm usually live doing my THING. Shouts out to doing your thing, because you know it's up to you to do what you got to do. And shouts out to me for already having these things ready to go. You dig? Y'all already know we got some good videos to get into today, so we just gonna slide over that way. Slide right on over that way. Shouts out to Spider Pig. Y'all see we did our thing over there this morning. Y'all already know we had Super Saturdays over there. About 8 a.m. usually when I start, and then, you know, I'm usually over here by 10, so
In just over a year, Missouri's cannabis market has already seen over $1 billion in adult use cannabis sales. During this time, only 1 of 3 microbusiness licensing rounds took place, and 11 of the 48 licenses awarded in that round were later revoked because of eligibility deficiencies. With the next microbusiness application window happening between April 15th and April 29th, 2024, you'll want to review the application process and start preparing now. Hi, I'm Dr. Sherry Boudram, CEO of CanDelta. Today we're going to be taking a closer look at Missouri's upcoming microbusiness application window, breaking down everything you need to know about permitted activities, eligibility, expenses, and more. Missouri's microbusiness license allows the holder to have a dispensary facility or wholesale facility. A microbusiness dispensary facility can acquire, process, package, deliver, transport, store, and sell cannabis and cannabis products to other microbusinesses, qualified patients, caregivers, adult use consumers, or testing facilities. Microbusiness dispensaries can also produce their own pre-rolls. Alternatively, microbusiness license holders can have a wholesale facility, allowing them to acquire, cultivate, process, package, store, manufacture, transport, deliver, and sell cannabis products to other microbusinesses or testing facilities. They can cultivate up to 250 flowering marijuana plants and produce both pre-rolls and infused pre-rolls. Missouri's average cannabis item pricing is 57.2% higher than every other state. This will change over time as the market continues to grow and become more established. By starting your Missouri cannabis business now, you'll be able to capitalize this market while it lasts. Microbusiness licenses will only be available to eligible applicants who are determined to be marginalized or underrepresented. The eligibility criteria require that the applicant falls into any one of the 5 specific categories, which are 1. Net worth below $250,000 and an income under 250% of the federal poverty level. 2. Service-disabled veterans. 3. Non-violent marijuana offender, or you have a family tie to one, excluding driving under cannabis influence or selling to minors. 4. Reside in an area where 30% or more of the population lives below the federal poverty level or experiences unemployment rates 50% higher than the state average. And 5, having graduated from an unaccredited school district or resided in such district zip code for 3 of the past 5 years. The license is also open to applicants from out of state. as long as one major owner on the application still meets at least one of these criteria. Candelta can help you determine if you qualify. We have listed all eligible zip codes on our website, which can be found at the link in the description. If you have any questions regarding eligibility, feel free to contact us through our website or call the number on your screen. There is a $1,500 application fee, but anyone not chosen in the lottery can request a refund. It's important to note that only applicants who meet the eligibility criteria will be allowed to request a refund. In other words, if you don't meet the microbusiness eligibility requirements but apply anyway, you won't be able to get your money back. Winners of microbusiness licenses will be chosen randomly through a lottery drawing in June 2024. To keep the process fair, applicants' identities won't be known to those responsible for the lottery drawing. Before you apply, you'll need to consider the geographic districts laid out by the Department of Health and Senior Services, or DHSS, since there will only be a total of 48 microbusiness licenses available, 6 in each congressional district. Each district has specific zoning requirements and setback distances that you'll want to look out for before you apply. Generally, microbusiness facilities cannot be located within 1,000 feet of existing elementary schools, secondary schools, daycares, or churches. Be sure to check the municipal zoning requirements from your local government to stay informed about any regulations before you apply, since you will need to propose a compliant facility location as part of your application. Microbusinesses must maintain approval to operate within 2 years of receiving their license. After obtaining the license, they must request and pass a commencement inspection before beginning operations. Requests for this inspection must include blueprints of the facility, SOPs, and other documents that all need to demonstrate federal, state, and local regulatory compliance. Microbusiness licenses are a great way to pave a path into Missouri's cannabis industry for anyone who may be at a disadvantage when it comes to getting a standard license. Cannabis businesses have proven to be very profitable since there is a strong consumer demand that creates some of the highest prices in the country. This won't last forever, so it's important to get in on the ground floor and develop your business while it's in this extremely profitable period. Microbusiness licenses give businesses many options when it comes to operations, and applying comes with minimal risk since the fee can be refunded. If you're interested in starting a cannabis business in Missouri, reach out to Candelta. We've helped over 300 cannabis businesses with their licenses and operations. We're very familiar with Missouri's cannabis industry and the microbusiness application process. Learn more by calling our hotline today. I'm Dr. Sherry Boudram, CEO of Candelta, signing off.
Shouts out to Melinda Elliott. Y'all know she's a level 2 Buy Me a Coffee member.
This is my first layer of color. I need to maybe go back and fill in a few little spaces, but I'm supposed to start with the light color first and the skin first if I can. Well, really the lightest color on the page first, and the skin appears to be the lightest color on the page. And yep, this is my first layer. I'm going to go on to my second layer. So here is my second layer, starting to do some shadowing, and then I have a third, even darker layer around the edges. So right now, I put in my darker color, and I am using my lighter colors to do some blending and try and make it a little bit smoother. I just got a few more minutes to work, and then my break is over. Bye. From a distance, which is generally how you view a picture that you framed and put on your wall, the coloring doesn't look too bad. Closer up, it looks to me like I need to do more blending, but yeah, considering it's the first adult coloring I've done. At least it's a good start.
Shouts out to starting and trying new hobbies. Y'all know to stay interested in the things you're interested in, right? Right.
More teens are turning to a drug called Delta 8 THC. It's also known as diet weed.
Testing for THC. How do police officers know the difference between legal hemp and illegal marijuana? What's the question people are asking after Charlotte Metro Police released body camera footage showing a controversial arrest that happened last month?
The couple in that arrest claimed they were smoking something they legally bought from a smoke shop. And Casey, how can officers know the difference?
Well, short answer is there's no way to tell the difference. Drug dogs can't even sniff out the difference because both plants contain THC. Christina Pierre and Anthony Lee claim they were smoking legal hemp at a bus stop.
Oh, it smells like you're smoking weed. This is stuff from the store. It's not in the store. It's THCA. You smoking weed? You guys smoking weed? It's coming from the store. I can smell it.
The officers proceeded to arrest Lee, and Pierre interfered, causing a massive police response, a viral video, and now a suspended police officer.
So, despite the fact that THCA is legal across the U.S. thanks to the hemp bill, more commonly known as the Farm Bill, a lot of people are still finding themselves in trouble when it comes to this plant. Also, we've been seeing a trend where a lot of lawmakers are actually cracking down on this market, claiming that it's causing harm, it's unregulated, and it's going to cause a lot of public health issues. Now, ever since the Farm Bill was signed into law, a lot of people have been claiming that this THCA is in fact a loophole and allows people to just straight up sell stuff that they shouldn't be selling. But first, we need to understand how exactly is this a loophole? How did we get here in the first place? So let's have a look at the Dales report because they break this down in a pretty straightforward manner.
As cannabis becomes more widely accepted and studied across the U.S., we find ourselves in an era of rapid research advancement. Among these advancements, researchers have discovered a captivating compound, blurring the lines of legality. THCA, or tetrahydrocannabinolic acid, stands as the unassuming yet crucial precursor to THC, the component known for its psychoactive properties. It was initially believed that THCA was formed from cannabidolic acid, but studies in the late 1990s showed that its true precursor is cannabidiolic acid. This compound undergoes oxidosylation through the enzyme THCA synthase, leading to the formation of THCA. THCA is notable for its instability. It decarboxylates into THC over time and more rapidly when heated, such as when cannabis is smoked, vaporized, or cooked. So what makes THCA distinct from THC? The most significant difference lies in their psychoactive effects. Unlike THC, THCA does not produce the high commonly associated with cannabis use. This difference is because THCA is a non-decarboxylated form of the substance. It's only when THCA is converted to THC, typically through heat, that it becomes psychoactive. Because of this, the legal status of THCA is somewhat complex. At the international level, THCA is not scheduled by the United Nations Convention on Psychotropic Substances. In the United States, THCA is not scheduled federally. However, due to its close relation to THC and the potential for THCA to convert into THC, it could be considered an analog of THC. This means that possession or sales of THCA could potentially be prosecuted under the Federal Analog Act. As for its medical and therapeutic potential, there is growing interest in exploring THCA for various treatments. Researchers are continually investigating the compound structure and behavior with the recent discovery of the intermolecular hydrogen bond pattern in THCA-A, providing insights that could address stability issues and open new avenues for medical use. As cannabis research continues across the U.S., THCA emerges as a significant subject of interest. This compound, once overshadowed by its psychoactive counterpart THC, is now recognized for its unique properties and complex legal status.
So one thing that we can see for sure is that it's not regulated, it's not scheduled, and to that end, it is becoming a really popular market. Now, just a quick reminder, guys, if you're getting value from this video, please do
like, share, and subscribe. Let me make sure I got this video posted. Hell, I be forgetting shit. Nope, see, I didn't. Damn it, Bobby. But that's why we do it live, baby. That's why we do it live. Here, y'all can watch me do this, though. Shouts out to y'all. Anyways, let's see. That solo leveling video got 27 views on Rumble. I appreciate that. Shout out to the Ram Bell. Double check myself real quick. Make sure I didn't post this video because I forgot. I watched it, but make sure it was decent quality for the consumers of the Rumble. 3.8. That's the one that's filming right now, so that's not the one I want. Okay, so now we'll go back and add a title to the video. It was Who is Toyotaro? So llama. Alright. Video description at SPIDERPG. Categories, entertainment. Y'all know how we do. It's either informational or entertainment. Infotainment. Shout out to the infotainment channels. Y'all know how we do. Let's see. Click the first button. And click these two. And send that on its way. Alright, I done clicked it a few times, so just check, double check, recheck, check. Mic check. No flex. Let's go.
Share and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to support us further, cop some merch or join the ICANN VIP Bean Club. But you guys can see the little bit of confusion when it comes into the fact that you burn it, it becomes THC, and when you don't burn it, it remains THCA. And right there, I think that that's the loophole. Now, there are a lot of people in the community who actually enjoy THCA and use it quite often. And there are a lot of other people who just aren't really fans of it. But check this clip out because it'll sort of explain how it relates to some of the other compounds that you may be familiar with.
A little something out there that is taking over the United States right now. It's called THCA. And it's gotten already off the rip just a bad reputation because of everything that's come before it, right? But if this is the one thing that you can take away from this video, right, you can click off in 30 seconds. This is the one thing that you have to know about this shit, right? Everything, all of these other cannabinoids that came before that we were getting pushed on, like Delta 8 and Delta 10 and THCV and O and THCP, all of those other ones were, for the most part, man-made. Maybe sometimes they naturally occurred in the cannabis plant, but for the most part it was manipulated hemp packs and manipulated CBD packs and just a bunch of manipulated shit so that it could be sold in stores, right? Kind of played with a little bit, tampered with, scientifically modified, if you will. And it kind of produced the same effects. Some people loved it, and it slowly started getting banned everywhere. And then recently, I want to say in the past year, maybe, let's say the past year, THCA has hit the scene. And immediately right off the bat, if you're a smart individual, you're like, well, those other stuff weren't the best thing ever, so this one might not be the best thing ever either, which is, you know, that's not the worst assumption ever. But the big thing is THCA, unlike being a product loophole, is just a testing loophole. It's not a modified product. At least for the most part, it's not. And that's where it gets into like a little bit of like muddy, hazy waters and everything.
Clearly, it's a lot of muddy, hazy waters when it comes to THCA, especially if you're burning it, consuming it, and converting it to straight up THC. You can definitely find yourself in trouble. And to that end, there have been situations where people have been consuming THCA, which they bought legally, and next thing they know, police run upon them and they're getting put in handcuffs. And that's exactly what happened right here.
And Casey, how can officers know the difference?
Well, Short answer is there's no way to tell the difference, at least by looking at it. Drug dogs can't even sniff out the difference because both plants contain THC. And that's why CMPD officers brought samples to this crime lab behind me to test to find out exactly what they were. But experts say the type of test that chemists performed here delivered flawed results. Christina Pierre and Anthony Lee claim they were smoking legal hemp at a bus stop on West Arrowwood in November when police approached them.
Oh, it smells like you're smoking weed. Oh, this is stuff from the store. It's not in the store. It's THCA. You smoking weed? You guys smoking weed? It's coming from the store. Well, I can smell it coming from that.
The officers proceeded to arrest Lee, and Pierre interfered, causing a massive police response, a viral video, and now a suspended police officer.
The substance that they were in possession of was certainly illegal marijuana. It was at a level much higher than anything you'll get in buying hemp or anything with THC at a store that sells it legally.
Lab results from CMPD's crime lab show the substances tested positive for marijuana THC. But hemp lawyer Rod Kite says the lab used a gas chromatography test, creating flawed results.
What the lab did that tested this particular sample is it actually created illegal marijuana from legal hemp. In other words, it created the very compound that it was looking for. And in creating that, it then determined that this was illegal marijuana, even though it was only illegal marijuana because the test created it.
Kite says the high-performance
see you. How
liquid
you doing?
chromatography test can detect legal hemp from illegal
Team just the
marijuana.
other channel,
But it's
hell.
fairly new, more
That's
costly,
me being
and most
my own
departments are
moderator.
not using it.
However, now that hemp is legal, the test has to be different because now legal forms of cannabis, what we call hemp under the law, can contain THC. And so it's important that the test properly measure the amount of THC in a sample to determine whether or not it's legal.
When it comes to handling legal hemp flowers like what you see here, Chief Jennings says officers assume anything that smells like weed is weed until proven otherwise.
If we don't want officers to address misdemeanor marijuana use, then make it legal.
Now, from what we've seen in some of the episodes that we've covered so far across different states, there are people who are mislabeling, just straight up calling something THCA when they know it's not. But there's also a lot of confusion when it comes to the understanding of what exactly THCA is, how it converts to THC, and whether it's in fact legal or not. Now, despite all that confusion, there's still a lot of potential when it comes to this particular topic. In fact, when it comes to the hemp versus marijuana debate, there's an innovator capitalizing on what Forbes deems to be the $28 billion loophole. So let's have a look at that, because that's a lot of money.
In 2018, the federal government legalized hemp and all of its derivatives, isomers, and extracts through the Agricultural Improvement Act. This law has created a hemp products industry that rivals the legal marijuana market. In 2022, hemp sales hit $28 billion, while cannabis sales were $26 billion. Since hemp and marijuana are different varietals of the same plant, cannabis sativa L, they contain the same compounds, and hemp can be used to make products of similar potencies as those found in state-regulated marijuana dispensaries around the country. Companies like 3Chi use hemp-derived CBD, a non-psychoactive cannabinoid, and convert it into THC, the compound in cannabis known for getting consumers stoned, and infuse it into edibles and vapes. So long as each product is made from hemp, defined as cannabis that contains 0.3% of Delta-9 THC or less, the products are technically legal at the federal level.
3Chi is a cannabinoid research and development lab. We're also a product manufacturer and a product distributor. 3Chi is in the hemp industry, and that differs from the marijuana industry in the sense that hemp is federally legal and marijuana is federally illegal, which provides us a lot of benefits over the marijuana industry in that we can ship interstate, we can advertise, and we can run our businesses more similar to a normal company than marijuana can. I started 3Chi to really pay forward what cannabis did for me. I'm a biochemist. I enjoy science, and I love using that, and I had been formulating products and using my science degree for that for a while. I had gone to a cannabis conference out in Portland because I had a lip balm company that was taking off, and it was a flavored lip balm that people were loving so much. They were eating it off their lips so fast, they said, hey, turn this into an edible, and I didn't know what that meant. While I was out there, I was trying to find the THC to put in this stuff and couldn't find it. Nobody would sell it to me. So somebody told me, hey, you can just take hemp distillate and try that. And by the way, you should try this for your shoulder. And I had had debilitating shoulder pain for about 3 years up to that point where I gradually lost the use of my right arm almost completely. I made myself a tincture and I made myself a pain rub. And I had tried everything else before this, right, outside of surgery. And within a week of using it, I had used my right arm back.
So you guys can see from that, not only is there potential when it comes to profits, but there's also potential when it comes to a lot of health benefits. Tinctures, rubs, salves, all these things can really help a lot of people when it comes to pain management. And what's also pretty interesting is that the difference between the hemp industry and the marijuana industry is actually pretty significant. On one hand, when it comes to the hemp, you can do a lot of marketing, you can ship interstate, heck, you may be even able to get support from banks. Whereas in the marijuana industry, there's no advertising, no cross-state shipping, and you're definitely going to get pushback from banks. They don't want to support you at all. So this loophole is definitely a really interesting one, but the distinguishing between the hemp and the marijuana plant is also pretty interesting. Now, we all know the Farm Bill had done a lot when it comes to home growers, THCA, and that type of market, but let's dig in and have a look at some of the other benefits that came with that Farm Bill.
Just days ago, the president signed the 2018 Farm Bill, a massive piece of legislation that legalizes industrial hemp.
Not everyone in the cannabis industry appreciates the ingenuity of entrepreneurs like Jernay. And marijuana lobbyists, many politicians, law enforcement, and state-licensed weed companies describe the federal legality of hemp-derived cannabinoids as an unintended loophole. In late March, 21 state attorneys general, including Indiana's Todd Rokita, whom 3Chi is suing over his opinion that THC chemically derived from hemp is illegal, sent a letter to members of Congress asking them to remove the protections of hemp-derived cannabinoids from the Farm Bill the next time it is reauthorized.
And you guys can see this was literally a few months ago, 2024.
The 2018 Farm Bill is what opened up this entire industry. It allowed for hemp to be sold and hemp-derived products to be sold federally across state lines and without concern for the Controlled Substances Act. These products are legal in Indiana, and so we've worked with the government for the last 4 or 5 years. We've had politicians out to our facility and walked them through and been very open with the state in terms of what we do and why it's not something to fear. At the end of the day, a lot of people are still controlled by that reefer madness propaganda that they grew up with, and it's especially strong in a state like Indiana. What we've been trying to get passed in Indiana for the last 4 years is a bill that puts regulations and guardrails on this industry. We've been trying to get it to a point where it's 21 and up everywhere you go, and just make it safer for people. We wanted testing. We want flour to be available again, because currently it's not. That was taken away. And we really just want the same level of opportunity that other states have.
So clearly, despite the legalization of hemp and THCA, there's still a lot of problems in the industry when it comes to this plant. But all that said, I want to find out what you guys think about the loophole. Is THCA something that you guys are interested in? Is it something that you guys actually consume or partake in? And what do you guys think about these lawmakers constantly trying to rein things in? We've seen it on a lot of episodes lately where they're trying to actually ban all THCA products, all THC products, despite the fact that over 80% of Americans are in favor of legalization, and more than half of the states in the U.S. have legalized in some form already. So let me know what you guys think about all that. But something that I found really crazy is that recently voters voted to approve rec, but the lawmakers said that the voters didn't know what they were doing. They were confused. So if you want to find out more about that crazy situation, check that video out because it's coming up right now.
I texted you, remember? Dog, I haven't checked my phone in hours.
No? You texted me back like 10 minutes ago.
Really? You sure about that?
You want me to show you?
Oh, come on, bro. There's no need for us to fight.
I'm not fighting.
So what'd you need? Just a quarter? Gotcha. Be right back. Jesus, come on, dude. Here you go. You take care, man.
There's like coughs everywhere, dude. Doesn't that worry you?
Sometimes.
Oh shit. Freeze, police!
Get down on the ground!
Get out!
Come out of the apartment with your hands raised. Surrender yourself.
Shout out to that sus vintage video. And back on our topic.
What's up, everybody? I'm the cannabis industry lawyer, and that's where you can find me on the internet, cannabisindustrylawyer.com. Today, we get into the cannabis weeds, and we're going to do a deep dive into a type of license that is not everywhere. It's not in my state. Maybe it is in yours. It's the micro-business license, one of my personal favorites, and it's coming to Missouri for 2023. So if you have any questions about the micro-business license, leave them down there. While you're down there, hit that like button and tag somebody that is in your state that would be awesome for this license. And now let's do some business discussions. Hey, Mickey, what's going on? Have you heard of this license, man? What is a micro-business? A micro-business is defined by statute in a particular jurisdiction, so it can be different in one state versus another. For example, in New Mexico, a micro-business license was only supposed to be a 100-plant operation that could sell its own crop, even at a second location. But because of demand constraints, they popped that to 200 plants, plus retail at its own location. Also kind of sounds like they got one of these coming in New York. We're going to be talking about what they have in Missouri. Missouri has just legalized, of course. It's going to be effective here in December of 2022. And then by next year, spring, maybe summer of 2023, a new lottery process for Missouri micro business marijuana licenses will be had. And Missouri, even though they passed it and legalized it, they still call it marijuana under their statutes. And they have two different types of marijuana microbusiness licenses. They have the microbusiness license that is for a dispensary facility, and then they have a microbusiness license that is for a wholesale facility. They are interrelated in the sense that the microbusiness wholesale facility is allowed to only sell to another microbusiness, including a dispensary, and vice versa. So the dispensary, and it can be hybrid. It can opt to sell either adult use or medical cannabis, but also it has to buy them that cannabis from another microprocessor. And I believe they want to have 2/3 of these licenses being assigned to growers and 1/3 being assigned to the dispensaries out of a pool of 144. So I don't know what that divides into. 3 times it wouldn't be even, considering that there's 144 of them. But that's kind of how it's going to be split. Their micro business for the cultivation, they call it the wholesale license, 250 plants. So for the grower side of things, is that they're able to sell to the dispensary and then also directly to the consumer? No, they'd have to be able to sell to a dispensary that's also a micro business. So they have to only sell to the micro businesses. It will make a very craft, or at least small business product that can act as like really your entry model for an entrepreneur getting into the industry. New Jersey has a micro license, which is affordable. New Mexico has a micro license that is affordable. In Michigan, you have the Class A license, which is only 100 plants. That's pretty affordable too. Illinois has a problem in the sense that its cheapest license is millions of dollars to get going, and over like 1,200 plants in flower alone. So having that higher barrier isn't necessarily the best thing, so that moms and pops can get into the cannabis industry too. Well, it sounds to me like isn't a micro business just a graft grow anyway? So it'd be the smallest tier of any tier available. So true, the craft grow, but then the smallest tier in most jurisdictions, the 250 plant, if you're going to do a plant count, and then you could take that 250 and multiply it by 4 square feet per plant if you're really spacing them out, and that would just be 1,000 square foot of canopy space, which isn't all that much because that's 1/5 of the size of the smallest craft license in our state. So when you're looking at it from a policy perspective and also an entrepreneurship perspective, not having the micro business license really kind of leaves out many of the small entrepreneurs that might want to get started, and then they can tier up in different jurisdictions as opposed to just having one type of license. That's what I'm just trying to wrap my head around with the term micro business, right? Because especially now with cannabis, it just seems to me that this is still restricted no matter what, right, from state to state. So no matter what state you're playing in, so you have 2 tiers of licenses. Is that how it's looking like? So with Missouri, they're going to have what, the big boy license that's only going to be for like people who can afford burner type pockets? Yeah, they already have those. The medical ones will be grandfathered in, and they might not give out any more of that license type. They're going to start giving out this micro license type because they've already given out hundreds or 150 at least dispensaries, and I want to say 60 growers or producers, but I need to actually go look at the number of licenses that they have in Missouri. It was a larger number than in our state, and there's only 6 million people in Missouri, so it really looks like the next round of licensing for that state is going to be this micro license type. So the micro license thing really is just something that's just saying, hey, you can get in, but you just got to be a smaller level. You have to be eligible. And so here's the eligibility requirements. For example, a net worth of less than $250,000. Oh, okay. And a net income below 250% of the federal poverty level. Which is really difficult. Or have a valid license that says you're a disabled veteran. Are you a disabled veteran, Miggy, or are you still able? I'm able technically. I'm not disabled qualified. I do qualify, but you have to go through a process. There you go. Of course, you could also be a person, a parent, a guardian, or a spouse that has been arrested for, prosecuted for, or convicted of a non-violent marijuana offense unless it was for driving under the influence of cannabis or selling it to a minor. And then there's also a zip code or census tract where, and then they have this impoverishment threshold, 30% or more lives below the poverty level. The unemployment rate is high. Historic rate of incarceration for marijuana-related offenses is also high. Or you could also have graduated from a particular school. So if you have, and these are all in the alternative, meaning that it says or and not and. Right, if you are one of those 4 things, you can play the lottery to get a micro business cannabis license. And if you win that, depending on what the regulations are for the dispensary, it still might be $1 million to open that. You should be able to get open for business for only hundreds of thousands as opposed to millions of dollars. What a deal. I bet you, Ferguson, that'd be the kind of area that, they would definitely prosper there, right? Because I just looked at the federal poverty level, and it's goddamn, for a family of 4, 27,000, which I don't know how people survive with 27,000 4 people. So, or build a farm. Or a dispensary that is compliant, So, you're looking for an impoverished area, which is a good portion of Missouri. Hey, but that's what it is. And so if you guys are out there and you want help with a micro business application in Missouri or anywhere else, head on over to CannabisIndustryLawyer.com and get in touch with us. And then the next thing you should do is check out that video that we'll put up. We'll put the video up there. Check that video out.
Wow, that's Snoop Dogg, the Godfather. I hit that blunt, I'm going to see the father. Damn, Earth was cool. Oh, this gas, 93 octane. God, take me Now! Hey, Cooley, he got another one sparked already. He being unreasonable. This beyond me. If you think I'm finna hit that blunt again, heavens no, I'm high, bucko. I'm puzzled. I'm finna give it right back to him and tell him I hit it 10 times already. I'm finna call 911 and report an attempted murder. He keep passing me blunts. He think we in a relay race. What a bummer. I'm finna put this out, and if he asks why, I'm gonna tell him I'm allergic to marijuana. Weed for me stand for with each exhale, I'm about to die. He gotta knock it off. I done already took 2 blunts. He done sparked a third one. Smoke monster. I'm finna play sleep. I'm comatose. Big fella, you took that blunt to the head. Now you finna be in the nearest hospital bed. This ain't the move. I'm finna scoot. He a different.
All right, so for those who can't see, that says more than 1,600 applicants filed for marijuana micro business lottery in Missouri in 2024. So this is last year's reports. So we got another round coming up this year in April, and I might be getting in there. It's my time to shine, right? Somebody got to do it. Hell.
Marijuana micro-business applications in Missouri officially closed yesterday. More than 1,600 applications were filed. If you're interested, a micro-business produces marijuana for medical and adult use, but it's done so on a smaller scale and without the same lofty overhead costs the bigger operations incur. That opens the market to a variety of growers.
And micro-businesses must have 250 marijuana plants or less. There can only be 2 dispensaries and 4 wholesale facilities per congressional district. So that is a total of 48 licenses that will be granted in the state through a lottery system. But again, as Sam said, 1,600 people apply.
Stakes here pretty high as businesses anxiously await to see if they're chosen. News 4's Nathan Vickers live in Ferguson tonight after talking to shop owners looking forward to this next chapter. Nathan?
That's right. The marijuana industry in Missouri has developed very, very quickly, and you have a lot of creativity in that industry, too. This is a Greenlight dispensary in Ferguson, Missouri, and they're doing what's called a farmer's market. So they have people in with some specials that can meet with the people who are actually selling and growing and producing the cannabis. And all of these people say that more people entering the industry is a good thing. In a growing industry,
This is just like all of our fertilizer here.
Bo Bradley's shop has found a niche.
They come here for basically everything.
He runs Grow Active Solutions, a cultivation supply shop in Tower Grove.
It's a really good community that we have here in St. Louis and in Missouri.
As the cannabis industry has developed, so have shops like his that sell equipment for home growing. Now, some of his customers are looking forward to Missouri's next chapter in marijuana.
I think that micro licenses are good for the community in general.
Micro businesses are smaller cannabis operations with fewer than 250 plants. The state will issue permits through a lottery system, granting just 6 in each congressional district per year.
We do have clients that are, turning in their applications that would like to get their foot into the door into the lottery.
The program is designed to expand the cannabis industry beyond existing dispensaries.
A lot of choices for consumers.
Tom Bomarito owns Greenlight in Ferguson. He says micro businesses are a little like craft breweries.
It's going to allow some folks that didn't have the money to get into the bigger, larger group that we're in.
He thinks it'll be good for the industry to have more sellers.
They'll have their own growers, and they'll have their own manufacturers, and they'll have their own dispensaries. And it'll be a closed group, so they will trade amongst each other.
As businesses keep growing, Bradley hopes to see new entrepreneurs popping up in the city.
I think that having those micro licenses will really let local people be able to show what they're capable of in this market and give them a chance to show themselves.
The state says that they're going to award those permits sometime in October, but I've been talking to some people in the industry who think that the state could announce those a little bit sooner, maybe as soon as September. Reporting live in Ferguson, Nathan Vickers, News 4.
That is.
The craziest thing about legalization in New York City is that it happened, and then all of these dispensaries appeared, and people just thought, oh, this is legalization. These are the dispensaries.
The big thing about the regulated market is the safety. When you smoke our flower, you're smoking something that's just sun-grown, grown directly in the native soil from New York. You guys want to just walk and see some huge plants? We call this the Keef Chief. It's quite pungent.
We actually are going to be hitting about 6,000 joints in packaging today.
You can have $100,000 worth of product in a vehicle at any one time.
I've sold Nick's dimes 2 for $20. How often do orders come through?
Like every second. Car at a time.
Follow the law. We're going to cross the street. We'll stand in front of the Will Smith building.
Recently, it feels like everywhere you go in New York City, marijuana. People have been selling weed behind closed doors for decades, but since legalization took effect in March 2021, vendors have been popping up everywhere. Some of them legal, and others not so much. While smoking weed is legal anywhere that smoking cigarettes is, selling it is subject to much stricter regulations. Recent crackdowns initiated by the mayor's office have shuttered around 1,000 shops.
We will find you, we will shut you down, we're more sophisticated than you.
But besides the law, are there any other tangible differences between the legal and illegal
More
markets? In order to find out and to better
Damn.
understand the full story of cannabis in New York City, we trace weed from our local dispensary to a farm in upstate New York. Already running late. We're in Hudson, New York at Hudson Cannabis, a weed farm. We've been spending a lot of time upstate lately. Sisters Melanie and Freya Dobson are two of the co-founders of Hudson Cannabis, and they were kind enough to invite us for a tour of their operation in the Hudson Valley.
Do we look at you or the camera?
The Hudson Valley is the breadbasket for New York City, and it's so cool that cannabis is now part of that landscape and something that people can actually track back to the source.
I can go into a dispensary, a legal dispensary around the corner from my apartment, and I can buy Hudson Cannabis pre-rolls. So I'm curious how those end up on that shelf. Like from the very beginning, it's a plant, it's a seed, right? That's where it starts.
Yes.
We're really excited to get into the weeds today.
And this is where the magic happens. It's the nursery.
Hey. Hi. How you doing? I have no idea what's going on in here, but we want to start from the beginning.
So this is where all the plants start before they go out in the field, before they're grown into flour or hash or anything for the New York market.
These are tiny baby plants.
These are clones.
What's a clone?
A clone is essentially a cutting from a mother plant, and we select that mother plant based on wanting to preserve a lineage, a set of genetics, and when you cut a clone, you create a copy of that plant, and then you can go on to produce that plant with a level of predictability and consistency that you don't have with seeds.
It's like Granny Smith apples.
There you go.
I'm Brandon. I'm the director of the farm and one of the co-founders. You guys went from the genetic lab to here. This is where like all of those genetics get expressed, right? Like this is a King Kong variety. It's like around 32% THC. It's really skunky and sweet. You can see all of the flowers are really starting to build, and this is about 3 to 4 weeks into flower. The other thing we're trying to do at Hudson Cannabis is like not add too much to our carbon footprint. So there's no fans, there's no heat, and it's a really special thing when you can smoke this kind of outdoor cannabis compared to a synthetically grown cannabis in a laboratory pretty much, or I would call it a plant factory, because you are getting the entire essence of nature, the soil, and it's pretty cool to have a recreational market where we can be doing this in the open.
So if you guys want to get a gun down.
Let's do it. So we were just in the fields. We trimmed the flower.
Yep.
It goes into one of these boxes. It comes into this room.
Then it goes through this.
Didn't he
So
just
this
say
is
you
our
don't want it to
machine
feel like
trimmer.
it's a lab?
Anything that is, just slightly leafy or even, really
Does
rough
that not look
can
like a
come through this
lab?
machine
Come on now.
and be turned into like beautifully trimmed buds ready for sorting. This helps us allocate our product, whether or not it's going to be a pre-roll or it's going to be good in that 1/8 bag or that 1/4 bag.
It's quite pungent, a bit acidic.
And that's almost the size of my head. So this team over here is typically doing like flower products, right? So we have dimes, eighths, quarters, and behind us is the pre-roll team. We actually are going to be hitting about 6,000 joints in packaging today.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot in one
That's
day.
exactly.
The most I've ever rolled in one day is like probably 4 or 5.
Wow. In one day? Check out this pre-roll machine that we have back here. It kind of uses, I don't know if you are used to those hand raw rolling things.
Yeah.
That's the exact same process. It will drop that material down onto this belt, which will then get rolled into joints, split like I said, and then you have 2 perfectly rolled joints. And then they get heat sealed and sent off to distribution.
Hey, we met actually like 2 years ago.
Yes!
Yeah. When they said you were coming.
Yes!
I was like, no way. We call this the Keef Chief.
This is the hash lab, where flour is distilled into more and more concentrated forms.
It's really simple. It just tumbles. So this is like a really large scale of like when stuff falls through your grinder and you get like keef on the bottom. So what we're going to do in the next step is we're actually going to use static electricity and pull the trichomes away from the contaminants. So this was one substance in the beginning.
This is the leafy matter.
Yeah.
And this is the trichomes.
Right. And if you look at this now, like under a microscope, it looks like crystal.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. It looks like sugar.
At this point, this is going to be close to 60% THC.
And this brings us to the last stop at the farm, where the products are boxed up and prepared for transport to dispensaries all around again in a few days. It just needs to drive down the road. We're not allowed to drive it down the road though.
So this is one of our distribution vans.
How often are you driving back and forth to the city?
40. You can have, anywhere from $10,000 to $100,000 worth of product in a vehicle at any one time.
Thank you.
See ya.
At this point in the process, dispensaries take over. But before we go inside a dispensary, we wanted to introduce you to a legal expert to help us clear up some confusion about the cannabis market in New York City.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jeffrey Hoffman. I'm an attorney in New York City.
Cannabis attorney Jeffrey Hoffman. Welcome back to the program. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me, sir. And I have a law firm out in the open is really a very novel thing, last couple of years. And so what has really happened is they passed the law, and the worst place in the world for anti-cannabis enforcement before that, as far as people getting arrested for cannabis, was New York City. It was stupid, it was horrible, it was the dumbest thing. After the law came into effect, there was an extreme desire not to repeat being the worst cannabis enforcement place on planet Earth. And that is why we now have over 1,000 stores, illicit stores in the city. At first there were 10. And the 10 said, the cops walk by.
So that's why more open.
So more open.
Because they said no one's doing anything about this. Since we shot that interview, many of New York's illicit shops have been shut down. But Jeffrey was still helpful in helping us better understand the difference between a licensed dispensary and any other place you might buy cannabis products.
The big thing about the regulated market is the safety.
Yeah.
Right, you're being told it's this strain with this percentage and this and that and the other thing. The idea is that these are supposed to be more responsible people that at least have standard operating procedures that they gave to the government that they said they're following. And, the same thing with that food and alcohol. We trust the food and alcohol system. Pleasure. Are we getting high now?
Not far from our office is one of New York City's original licensed dispensaries, the Travel Agency. And we got a chance to speak with one of their founders.
Hi, my name is Arena Hankin-Biggers.
How does a licensed dispensary operate differently than buying weed on the corner from somebody?
In every single imaginable way.
Put
We have to get a
more homework
license, we
on
have to
some
pay
of
an
your own
exorbitant
work
amount of
you did.
taxes. Every single product that we sell has to be grown in New York, has to be tested by a licensed New York State lab. So this sticker is really important because it actually says and proves that we are a licensed dispensary. So everyone out there, only go into a store if you see this sticker on the door.
For real.
Yes.
He said, let's actually go into a dispensary.
There are beautiful displays that show what we're offering. And the kiosk is where you actually place your order.
So this is the interface that you see before you start shopping.
What stands out to me about the shopping experience at a licensed dispensary is you can't just grab stuff off the shelf like you pick out eggs at the supermarket. Products are placed in a back room and don't come out until you request them. This is why so many dispensaries look kind of like Apple stores. It's a security thing. I hope the fact that I'm buying weed right now for journalistic purposes is not lost on you watching this video. Thank you so much. Perhaps a more familiar weed buying experience for longtime smokers is
What
delivery.
up, brother Nofo?
Call
I
the
get to
guy,
see you
come to
too.
your
I see you
apartment,
chilling,
and get
fam.
your weed. Like that TV show, High Maintenance.
What's up? Food delivery, fast, hot, and ready.
My name is Dante. I traverse the streets of New York City. Delivery. How many times a day are you doing this approximately?
4 to 6 routes a day.
You started in the summer. You started just three months ago.
Yeah.
What do you think? Are you ready for the winter?
I am ready for the winter.
You gotta have the long underwear.
Yeah, I'm ready for the
That's
winter.
Anything else we should talk about while you're here?
No. Gotta get to the next order.
You gotta get to the next.
Yup.
Doobie works a lot like Uber Eats does with restaurants. They're a middleman between the dispensary and the customer.
Hi guys, my name is Ricky. I'm one of the lead dispatchers for Doobie.
So you know where everyone's at.
Yeah, 24/7. We can see them on the map. Make sure everything's going correctly, you know?
It's like Find My Friends. How often do orders come through?
But almost like every second, you know?
Companies like Doobie that have brought this age-old service into the regulated market are trying to maintain the livelihoods of dealers who once made a living in the illicit market.
My name is Aaron. I'm dispatcher since day one for Doobie.
What other jobs have you had in the weed industry?
This would be my first legal thing, but I've sold nicks, dimes, 2 for $20.
What do you say to people when they're like, I don't know if I should go to travel agency or just go to the spot on my corner?
Would you go to the Gucci store or would you go on the corner of the block?
You on Canal Street Gucci? For real Gucci? Okay, we've been working on this video for a while, and things have been constantly changing, but this March marks 4 years since weed was legalized in New York State, and I wanted to look at the latest numbers. So there are now 295 licensed dispensaries in New York State, 115 of which are in New York City. As of December 31st, the New York State cannabis industry passed $1 billion in total retail sales. And for the fiscal year ending March 31st, the New York legal weed industry is expected to generate $162 million in tax revenues, which is 4 times what was collected last year. And it's important to note that this tax revenue is earmarked for a couple special projects. 40% goes towards education spending across the state. 40% goes towards grants to support revitalization efforts in communities that were most harmed by cannabis prohibition. And 20% goes towards drug treatment and education. If I was going to sum up how legalization has changed things in just one word, it would be transparency. This is from Hudson Cannabis. On the back of any packaged cannabis good in New York State, there's this QR code. And if you scan the QR code, it's going to give you a bunch more information about the product, where it came from, and what went into it. That kind of transparency you're not getting in the illicit market. Growers can work out in the open and implement farming practices that are best for the land they're working on. And vendors who used to risk going to prison can now work legitimate jobs with real benefits. So maybe it's been a rocky road to get to this point, but I think in the long run, we'll be better off because of these changes. And let's face it, New Yorkers were going to smoke weed whether it was made legal or not.
Bro had a good video. It ties right in with the Missouri business, micro business. So that's talk about, babe. You know what I'm saying? That's that shit right there. You know, gotta have something to put in your homework on, so that way you can do your homework. Shout out to the Superfood parents. Y'all know my video sponsors.
I've got the garlic in there. I'm gonna chop up this onion. I'm gonna put a little bit of water, and I'm gonna just let those saute down. Is sugar like crack? What do you all know about the studies? Have you seen any studies? Are you familiar with this, that sugar is addictive? And one of the main ways that we get it is in our ultra-processed foods. So anything that's processed or ultra-processed, for example, if you're eating a tomato, that's just a whole food. If you turn that tomato into ketchup, if you turn that tomato into any sort of sauce, then it's processed. And it may be ultra-processed, like a ketchup would be ultra-processed, because you can't even recognize it anymore. If it's salsa, that would be processed because it has been changed, but it's not ultra processed where there's been all these additives and all these different things happening with it. So we're just gonna rough chop our onion and put that in the pan. And remember, we're sauteing these all with a splash of water. Christiana, can you bring me the liquid aminos, please? Thank you. So liquid aminos, I'm gonna use those as the salt here to season this up, and let's see what you all are saying in the chat. Rambo is saying, dark vegetables and fruit come with extra stuff. Absolutely, the darker the berry, the sweeter the juice, right? But also the darker the berry, the sweeter the nutrients, like the darker the food. So Rambo is saying, dark vegetables and fruit come with extra stuff, so eat lots of colors in fruit and vegetables, and eat from all over the world. It's ours to eat. Absolutely. So that's another good way to look at it. You know, when you think about it, you just have to say, okay, I'm going to eat the rainbow, as they say, but why are you eating the rainbow? Because the phytonutrients in the different foods are different. So you get vitamin A and carotene in carrots or any orange vegetable, you'll find some of those same properties. So like butternut squash or pumpkin, those orange foods. Of course, the green foods you have, especially those leafy greens, right? Rainbow, thank you. Rainbow says, I love some okra. Absolutely. So I can't remember if okra has calcium in it. I can't remember the specific nutrients, but that's the nice thing. When you're eating the rainbow, you don't have to like count calories. You don't have to worry about, am I feeding my loved ones? Am I being a superfood parent? How am I feeding my, nope, you don't have to worry about it. You just know that you're already doing great when you actually are consuming whole foods. Let's say if you're a vegetarian, my big he's a vegetarian, trying to eat all the whole foods. But if they get, and Michelle are over there eating processed and ultra processed foods, you can best believe that's where the sugar is hiding. The sugar is in the processing. It's sort of like a preservative. They know that it appeals to people's palate. And that sugar in most things is what makes you come back for more. So last night,
So one of the things I probably get asked about the most as a daily cannabis user is when do I take tolerance breaks? How often do I take tolerance breaks? How many days do I take a tolerance break for? And I always reply, tolerance breaks are a scam. I almost never take tolerance breaks. The last time I took one, it wasn't by choice. I was moving from Colorado to Florida. It took me like 8 or 9 days, and I just didn't bring any weed with me because I didn't want to get in trouble. But even through unintentional tolerance breaks, or that one that I experienced when I moved, there's something that I've noticed time and time again from taking days off. Sure, you're going to get high that first time you smoke, but if you just get back into your same smoking routine, you didn't really give your tolerance a break, and by day 2 or 3, you're already at the same level of tolerance that you were when you needed a tolerance break. I do need to mention everybody's body chemistry is different. Some people benefit from taking a longer time off. Some people's tolerance reset almost every day. THC stores in fat cells, so the higher body fat percentage you have, the more likely it is that the THC stays in your system for longer. So while everybody is different, there is one thing that I noticed, that most people asking about tolerance breaks are simply just smoking too much. They don't need a tolerance break, they need a tolerance fix. Fixing your tolerance is better. Your tolerance isn't just this machine that you run into the ground and then you call a repairman. If you treat it right, it's a well-oiled machine and it'll run every day. I do have a few videos on tolerance, and what I do talk about in those is moderation. Moderation is the biggest tolerance hack. It is the biggest thing that you can do to benefit your tolerance. What I mean by moderation is the more time you spend in between smoking, the higher you get when you do smoke. The biggest issue for most people is wake and baking. Some people want to wake up, smoke weed first thing they do in the morning. A couple hours later, they want to smoke again. An hour later, they want to smoke again. An hour later, they want to smoke again. You can't just get high several times in the day. If your plan is, I'm going to wake up and get high 5 times today, you're not going to get high once. You're going to get medium every single time. You're not really going to get high. But moderating yourself, moderating when you smoke and moderating the amount that you smoke. If you're just smoking a ton, you're obviously going to need a ton to get high. But me, I do most of my smoking on Twitch. I don't do my first hit typically until 9 p.m. Eastern. There are exceptions. I do smoke earlier on Saturdays typically, but I don't do my first hit of the day until 9 p.m. Eastern. Live on Twitch. You should go join me over there. We're probably having a smoke sesh right now. What's up? But when I take that first hit of the day, it hits me so hard. It hits like a fucking Mack truck. I need a moment to catch my breath and let my body feel normal again. That's when I get really, really high. That first hit of the day, that initial rush, there's a difference when you just hit the weed or the dab, and then when it settles in what you feel. But that first hit of the day, bro, oh my God, 10 out of 10. Another reason I think tolerance breaks are a scam, or why people should avoid them or treat it differently, is because most people just get to the point where they're smoking too much weed. They're smoking more and more throughout the day. They're smoking more often. They're trying to smoke every minute of the day, and they're trying to smoke way too much. And then they're like, I'm not getting high anymore. I smoked 17 grams in the last 4 hours, and I'm not getting high. They go from this point of using way too much to quitting cold turkey because they heard they need a 2-week tolerance break, 3-week tolerance break. So they went from smoking way too much to smoking none. And if you've ever done that, if you've ever gone to the point where you're like, oh my God, I could smoke a pound and it's not gonna get me high, and then you just stop smoking, it fucking sucks. Everybody's body is different, but most people have a loss of appetite. Most people, their stomach feels like shit for about a week or two until everything evens out. But when you go from overdoing it by a ton to just stopping completely, it's not a great thing. It's not a great feeling. If you legitimately want to take a tolerance break, the best thing a tolerance break can do for you is save you money because you're not going to be spending it on weed. But if you legitimately want to take a tolerance break, don't go from smoking way too much to smoking nothing at all. Work your way into it a little bit. Smoke a little bit less, a little bit less. Try to moderate, try to smoke only at the end of the night or before you go to bed. Some people can't sleep. If you go from smoking if you're doing a 1 gram dab in the beginning of every day when you wake up and you're just smoking all throughout the day and you just quit completely, you might not be able to sleep. It's just the way it is. It might take you a week or two before your body's back to normal and you can sleep again. Even when I talk about this, moderation always comes into play. You should always monitor how much you smoke, how often you're smoking, and keeping track of those things can help you get higher. I get really high every night, but I don't smoke as much as most people that I talk to. There's a lot of people out there that smoke more than me because they smoke all day. They have higher tolerances than me, but it's not a contest. It's not a game. It's not like, oh, bro, I wish I could have your tolerance and I could smoke 17 pounds of weed and not get high. No, you don't want that. You don't want to eat 2,000 milligrams of edibles, spend an hour chewing, and then get like 4 out of 10 high and be like, that was okay. You don't want that. You want to get high when you smoke. So get high when you smoke. Moderate yourself. Don't try to smoke all day. Don't try to be high all day. That's impossible. Figure out your time to relax and get high then. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't take a tolerance break. There's many reasons you could take one or could benefit one. From some people, it's money related, or they're trying to get a job, or there's legal reasons they can't test positive. Obviously, that's a different case or a different scenario than somebody who's just trying to get high all day and like, I smoked a whole eighth and I didn't get high. A break, it can help some people, but just know, no matter how long of a break that you take, if you don't practice any bit of moderation, if you don't have any bit of self-control when you get back to smoking after your tolerance break, a few weeks are going to go by and you're going to be thinking about another tolerance break. Why not just get high every day? Why not just moderate yourself? Pick a little 4 or 6 hour window in the day that you smoke and get high as fuck in that period. Well, hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, Cupins420 on Insta. A lot of people send me video ideas there, so if you have a cool one, send it to me over there. And if you want to hear my thoughts on sativa and indica and why it might not matter as much as you think, check out this video. Appreciate you watching. Stay lit, my dudes.
Everybody in New York was calling to get down with Mr. Nice Guy. We met all kinds of customers, like this guy here. He's what we call an enhancement smoker, because he thinks that marijuana makes every activity that much better.
Casa su casa.
Observe.
I mean, Scarface, right? Yeah. I love Al Pacino, man. Did you ever see Son of a Woman?
Yup.
You ever seen Son of a Woman on weed? That's the way to say it, man. It's just whack.
$60, yo.
$60, yo.
I got it. Did you ever see the back of a $20 bill, man?
No, I don't know, yo.
Did you ever see the back of a $20 bill on weed? Oh, there's some weird shit in there, man. There's a dude sitting in the bushes, man. Does he have a gun? I don't know, man. I don't know. What? Red team go. Red team go. It's just some weird shit, man.
Man, you fucking crazy, yo.
Oh, that's cool. Thanks, man. Hey, yo, wait. Dude, I'm gonna check out the stars later. It's really trippy. Especially on weed, man.
In today's video, I'm going to be going over one of my favorite training techniques for plants that we rarely get the chance to do on the channel, which is known as manifolding, also referred to as mainlining. Doing this is going to help increase your yields while also keeping a nice even canopy all throughout flower. So let's just jump right into it. So the technique of mainlining or manifolding cannabis was first named and described by a grower known as nug buckets. Nug buckets' original concept for manifolding plants involves topping the plant and then stripping everything down below, which ends up creating multiple main colas that are nice and chunky, while also eliminating the growth down below known as popcorn buds, which, if left to grow, would end up just taking away energy that the plant could otherwise be using to grow those nice thick buds up top.
It is worth mentioning that most growers do end up just removing this larf down below anyway through a process known as lollipopping, so doing a manifold now helps so we're not going to have to worry about those popcorn buds later on down the road. I personally just prefer getting this busy work done early, and in doing so, the plant is going to be growing a lot slower in the early veg stage than it would had we not manifolded, but again, I think the trade-off is just really worth it. Now, a simple manifold, which we're going to be doing today, means topping your plant twice and manipulating it to produce 4 large main colas. Once done, the plant's branching will have created what is called a manifold, and it's going to look very unique with main stems that kind of resemble like a bonsai tree, I guess. And you're going to notice that the plant's branches are symmetrical from each side where the main stem was originally split. So if you're someone who just enjoys a cool looking plant with an even canopy all across, then this technique might be something that you're interested in. So there's that. Now, I should mention that growing from seed is easiest for this training method, as clones typically do not grow out symmetrically as opposed to going right from seedlings, which do. And to be more specific, you should probably be going with an indica strain, and that's because it naturally grows into that short, stocky Christmas tree shape, which always has those dense, wider colas that just responds a lot better to manifolding. On the other hand, sativa strains typically grow out to be taller with more secondary branching going on, and the flowers are usually a lot more skinny and lanky in appearance, which doesn't complement this training method as much. However, it still can be done. It's just not ideal, especially in comparison to using an indica strain instead. Okay, so now that we have a better idea of what manifolding is and what it accomplishes, let's just jump right into it and show you guys step by step how you can easily manifold your plants at home. Alright, for step 1, all we're going to be needing to get things started is some gardening wire and pruning scissors. Now, it doesn't really matter what kind of pot you're going to be growing in, but I personally think fabric works best. It's just super convenient since there's these metal hoops right on the side for tying the plant down. Otherwise, we would need to make our own holes had we been using plastic pots instead. Okay, to begin the manifold, we're going to need a plant that's in its early veg cycle, and ideally you're going to want to wait until the plant has grown roughly to its 5th or 6th node before beginning to manifold the plant. A quick note, just keep in mind that the cotyledons, also known as the seed leaves, do not count as the first node. That's just a mistake I have seen a few times when counting nodes, so again, yeah, just a tip. So once we notice the plant was starting to work on its 5th node, we get ready to top the plant down to its 3rd node. When doing this, just be mindful not to accidentally cut the growth tips coming out of the node, because each one is soon to develop into the new main. So the next step after the plant is topped is going to be removing all of the growth down below. In doing this, the plant will start diverting all of its energy into developing just the 2 remaining growth tips protruding from the 3rd node. From this point on, the 3rd node will become the center of the manifold, which will serve as the starting point where the plant distributes energy across all parts of the plant. Now, once you're finished this step, the plant will look a little bit bare, but in a few days you should start to notice that the plant will have bounced back as it begins working on new growth. Again, now that the plant has been topped and stripped, what was once one main stem with auxiliary branching has now formed into 2 main stems that resemble a wishbone-like shape such as seen here. Now, as these 2 nodes start growing back, we could tie them down with some gardening wire to help keep them at a more uniform height, but in this case, they are kind of small right now and don't really need it, so we are just going to be holding back for a few days. Overall, this part is definitely strain dependent. If the stems are long and you think that they're strong enough to withstand the pressure, then by all means, just go for it right after the first topping and tie them down. If you do break anything, you could probably fix it with some duct tape just to mend the split, but again, for this plant we didn't end up needing to use any gardening wire until after the 2nd topping happened, and that's just because of how small the plant was. So at this point, we waited roughly 2 weeks for the plant to grow out and start working on its 5th set of nodes on each branch before repeating the first steps of topping and stripping the plant. Just like before, we will be topping each side down to the 3rd node while pruning all of the growth below these nodes. It is important to mention that when doing the 2nd topping, you are going to need to make sure that you are cutting the nodes in the same place on both sides of the plant to ensure symmetrical growth. If the third nodes aren't exactly even on both sides, you can choose to top the node that is directly across from the other instead. The overall goal here is just to make sure that the nodes are in the same place on both sides of the manifold. Essentially, every time you top the plants like this, it is going to be doubling total number of main colas. Again, the plant is going to be looking a little bit bare for right now, but after some recovery, we will have successfully turned these 2 main stems into 4. Okay, so after roughly another 2 weeks has passed and we've achieved a total number of 4 branches with 5 nodes on each, we could hypothetically just continue the previous steps of topping and stripping to produce 8 or even 6 main stems. But since we are running out of space in this small 2x2 fully automated VGrow Smart Box by VivoSun, I'm not going to be doing another topping at the moment. Instead, I'm just going to be tying down these new growths to try to get some wall-to-wall coverage. I should mention, once you finish manifolding, you can start manipulating the plants into whichever shape you desire. I'm going to be using a scrog netting to do so and simply just be weaving the shoots under to make sure everything is perfectly even, but you can also use a tomato cage and tie the colas to that instead. Pretty much whatever you prefer just to maintain an even canopy will work. Additionally, you can also give the plants a light super cropping around week 2 of flower if you're running out of vertical room in your tent, or the canopy just isn't perfectly even, which I am going to be doing here, as some of these shoots just seem to be growing a little bit taller than the others. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So again, super easy to do. You know, it's a simple yet effective high-stress training method that is going to help increase those yields come harvest time. Again, doing this does increase the veg growth time, but still, the 2 of us here certainly think it's a worthwhile HST method, especially if you're growing in a small space like this tiny 2x2 smart grow box, which we've been having a lot of fun growing with lately, and I'm excited to see what we can pull off here when flower comes rolling around and we harvest these plants. By the way, the strain we are working with is Banana Daddy by Ethos Genetics, so make sure to
What up,
subscribe
Lawless?
if you're
Good to
interested
see you.
in
How you
hearing our
doing?
final thoughts on the strain, which will be coming out soon in a full-length seed to harvest video. But yeah, anyway, as always, I do appreciate you guys watching the channel. Until next time on Canadian Grower, peace.
Shout out to them Canadians. They be having that information, boy. Them Canadians been growing for a minute too. Shout out to Legal Do It Yourself, cause you know, that's that big homie. Y'all know, go check out DJ Is. What up, Poppin' C? Good to see you. He said 245, see? That's what the micro business license here is. He said the LL Cool J felt like shit. Definitely was on some motherfucking bullshit back then, wasn't they? Shit. Yeah, bro said I noticed that pale leg up. That's hilarious. I mean, obviously he think his footwork was on point.
The marijuana business is growing in Missouri. As promised, the state has awarded licenses to 48 micro businesses.
KBC 9's Dana 7 spoke with one of the owners who hit the marijuana sales lottery.
Missouri residents have grown accustomed to the sight of dispensaries like this on the corner throughout the state. There are about 200 and more are on the way. Demand for marijuana is high in the state of Missouri. Lots of money being made, and the state is now trying to keep its word by spreading the wealth by awarding 48 micro licenses.
The micro industry in itself was really conceived with the passing of the recreational bill. Essentially, it's its own encapsulated market.
1,600 people in the state of Missouri applied. 48 were picked through a lottery. License winners like Tango Hotel Charlie had to meet certain requirements, including having a net worth of under $250,000.
You've been incarcerated for a cannabis offense, for example, or if you have a disabled veteran or any kind of service-connected disability, things like that.
The goal is to spread the bucks that come from the bud. The current laws make it a little bit difficult for micros to truly prosper.
I mean, other than just a couple more stores popping up as far as competition, it's a little bit of a different competition because we can only sell X, Y, and Z products. We can't sell A, B, and C products that are, already on the market kind of a thing.
Well, now that the approval process has been completed, there's still the matter of getting these businesses up and running, and we're told that in many cases this could take up to possibly a year. Dennis Evans, KBC 9 News.
The state is expected to award 48 more micro licenses over the next 2 years.
Let's discuss my payment. That time is past. No 5,000 for you. The price is 50. How about your payment is you get to leave? Not enough. Now you think you can negotiate with me? I say the word my nephews go to a certain motel, pay a visit to your daughter-in-law and your little granddaughter. What do you think happens then? Consider your position carefully. I get my money, or neither of us walk out of here. You willing to die for this? Maybe I need the 50,000 more than you do.
Cut off the Rumble video. Stop that from doing this thing. Go back. Ready to take y'all with me into the green room because y'all already know how we do. I'm moving around still too, Coach Sherry. I'm finna be here for a little bit because we got work to put in the green room because hey, that's where it goes. Damn. Shout out to the Let's see. Here we go in the green room. Shout out to them autos that we got from Vera Miller. Y'all see they running in the cups. Bing, 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 bing. Some of those ain't got nothing in them, but you know, we're gonna keep trying until we get them. We still got some more seeds to pop anyways. So let's see. Looking over here today. I was thinking about putting these back on air and see if that'll help them grow a little bit quicker, because you know we trying to get some good results with some good ladies this time. So hell, that might be what I need for that other one anyway. So yeah, shouts out to the Team Deepwater Cultivation side of things. You know how we do. Let's see, we got 4 that we need to put in pots though, and 4 pots that are almost ready to go. So you know, it ain't too much work to put in. So I'm gonna let y'all clock in with your boy. That way we can all do some work together. Shout out to the green room, because you know, indoor garden consultant. He hardly ever be in the garden sometimes. Sometimes he be just watching his videos and calling it a day, letting you ask him questions. Because you know, we got some plant information somewhere. Somewhere in the video, somewhere. But you know, today's micro business is good topic, because you know, that's what we got coming up. Hell, we filed for that. We got 250 plants, like they said. And then within all the other micro businesses within my county, there's 48 of them, so that are finna be new. Yeah, that's all the way good. Hell, we can make it happen. Ain't nothing wrong with keeping 200 plants strong. So let's see. Alright, so let's see. We got DG. That was our first cup we're emptying out. Give it a good toss about. See if there was anything we missed. Nope. That being said, alright, today's what, the 8th? So now we got 3, 8, 25 garden update. Shouts out to part 2 of the video. You know, in the green room, keeping it popping. You gotta be on the scene to be putting in the work. Shouts out to the Homework 2025 playlist. Y'all know that motherfucker's getting deep. Shouts out to putting in that work, because you know that's what your boy gonna do. I don't know what you gonna do, but I know what I'm gonna do. Because like I said, I got things to do. So, hell, let's get active. The DG. We got 1 for potting. Boom. And then I believe we still have a couple more of those. See, here's a little baby. Here's a little baby. It's like a couple of weeks old, but it ain't a baby. So, you know, it's going in this pot today. Shouts out to that pot life. Gotta love ducking and dodging that light, but hell, you know, I got to move, so you know I ain't gonna hit it anyways. You dig? Protect yourself at all times, especially in the garden, putting in that work. Like they say, the garden don't love you back sometimes. Yeah, man, which one is this? SPR. Got one of them. Okay. Alright, so now let me not forget to do the labels as I'm doing this, so that way I don't forget which ones went where. What up, David Corey with the crap? Y'all know to go check out Big Bro. He doing his thing daily over there too. Y'all know David keep it popping. That's why, you know, there's always respect among hustlers. Let's see, the first one was that DG, which for those who actually want to know, that's that double grape. Shouts out to them. Son of Odin Seed Company genetics that we got. You know, shouts out to the big homie Bear Miller. You know, he sponsors the grow. He already know what time it is, so you know, big homie always gonna drop me a pack. Shouts out to brother No Fly. He came by. He'll tell you, hey, we them dudes. We out here making shit happen. Shouts out to making shit happen because people get used to seeing you. Then you'll be out here making it do what it do too. That is all the way fucked up. So let me just fix this DG and keep it moving. So I ain't worried about that. There you go. DG. Boom. This one's SPR. Okay, next we got Forbidden Fruit. Shouts out to the big homie. What's the new one? I don't know. But anyways, we'll keep it moving. Shouts out to Melinda Ellie. Y'all know that's a level 2 Buy Me a Coffee member. Go check her out. We'll drop her link in that chat. Appreciate them thumbs up though. Appreciate them thumbs up. But we're just getting these little guys out of their cups and putting them in their final pot. They are autos, so since they are started and running good, we'll get them in a DWC bucket and let them acclimate to that and let them do what they do because they are autos. So we'll keep them in the corner. Shouts out to that auto corner. The big homie said I'm gonna steal some of your real estate. And I appreciate that. Cause you know we gonna keep something growing on. Something growing on. Oh yeah, let's got some nice little starter. A little start to the roots. Look at it. Highlight. Bam. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, so let's see. That was what? Forbidden fruit. Set that over there. That's 3 out of the, what is it, 4, maybe 5. We might have to go for extra work because there appears to be 2 in this cup. Yes, there's 2 in this cup. Shouts out to the 2 because we did drop 4 seeds. So, you know, if we get multiple, we're happy about that, right? Happy enough to get the 1. But you know, with the more people on the team, the more likely you are to get things done. So, hell, I'm gonna start with a little short one, see what it is working with. Where the hell my tweezers at? No. I have to get this soil amount loose. Oh, back to this one. Next to hit him in the head with this one. Boom. That That one definitely looked easier. Gotta give that short one a second to see if it's gonna have anything worth my time. Look at that one. Yeah. Alright, that's number 4 for my auto army. Okay, and that is ZZ. We got 1, 1, 1. That I can actually put in here. Off in them streets, they call it murder. Say, welcome to Drum Rock. What about it, boy? What's up next? I don't see right. That right back where it was. Boom. And we threw some enhancements. Shouts out to enhancements. We gotta enhance things. Shouts out to being Team DWC. Because you know we're gonna keep things popping. That's all our work for today. Y'all see we got, let's see, that's the one that I just re-put in that cup. And I got those, I don't know if they gonna make it or not, because they look like they tops ain't formulating right. And then 4 empties. But we do got four friends over here that are in new pots, so we'll see how they grow in. I'm gonna put some more water in there, so their water level should be adequate enough to start off. And they should be taking off and looking like that in a week or two, so we'll see how it goes. Y'all know how we do, Team DWC. TWP, I'll see y'all right back in the morning.